So as you know, May is Mental Health Awareness Month. And even though we're in June now, it doesn't matter because I think this is an issue that we should be talking about year long because, you know, mental health itself doesn't have any parameters or boundaries as to when and when it won't, you know, affect you. So I'm happy to have on the phone today Chris Matthews, who is a mental health expert. Hey, Chris.
Hey, how you doing?
I'm doing pretty good. What about yourself?
I'm doing spectacular. Thanks for having me.
Oh, no, thank you for being here. I think this is such a great conversation to have. I know that you are a licensed marriage and family therapist, along with, you know, you deal with addiction and other things. I know you've written a ton of books. You have online courses, all of that. And really what I want to get down to the nitty gritty is what is going on in our relationships today. I know a lot of times we come into relationships individually with some type of baggage, and then we connect with other people, and now we have excess baggage. But what specifically is going on with us today? Because I think there's been like a seismic shift in our relationship status.
Yeah, so a lot of what's going on are people are afraid to be alone, and there's a lack of self-love. And that's a lot of what I do in counseling, making sure that you have two partners who love themselves. Relationships are 100 and 100. You bring all of you into that relationship, and the partner brings all of them. That includes the good, the bad, and the ugly.
Ooh, we don't like the ugly, but I know it's necessary.
Right.
Well, let me ask you this, Chris, because I think a lot of times you may not know that you have issues. And I don't think they come out until you connect with someone else and maybe there's an argument or maybe a situation that you feel is uncomfortable for you. And then you realize you have all of this baggage. What do you do at that point? And what is the telltale sign initially for yourself to know, you know what, it might be me. It might not be him, or it might not be her. It might be me.
Yeah, that's a great question. So the telltale sign is going to be your family of origin. We're all going to be a combination of our past experiences, our genetics, our DNA, and those experiences that occurred in our family. So what I do in counseling, even with individuals, I make sure I go back through that lineage, and we use certain tools such as a genogram to understand where those traumas were beyond the relationship, prior to the relationship, when you were a child. And that's going to be the origin of the root for a lot of the issues that couples have in adulthood.
Well, now this is going to be a tough one, so buckle up and get ready for this one. Now, how do you find, because of course we already know, there's no use in beating, you know, a dead horse in terms of, you know, black people don't like therapy, right? We've heard that forever, but I think now the tide is shifting. We are starting to get help. But my question is, how do you find the person who is best suited for you in terms of therapy? Because, you know, everybody ain't for everybody.
Got you. So you're right. The tide is shifting. When you think about just media perception now of therapy, the stigma is falling off. The way you find a good therapist is going to be, first and foremost, understanding what you want from the therapy. So as a licensed marriage and family therapist, I'm trained to look at the systemic perspective, going beyond just that individual and seeing everything that connects. And I would say that there are a lot of great resources out there. Psychology Today is a great resource. The other thing you want to look at are your resources in terms of how much money you can afford, or your insurance, or if you are looking at an employee assistance program, because that's one of the big barriers for a lot of people. It's going to be the time resource and the money. And overall, a good fit. When you go into a therapist's office and you have that connection, that alliance is going to be what really moves the needle on change. So making sure you have that alliance and that fit is going to be huge. And you can do that by way of first understanding what you want from the process.
And also, I would imagine understanding what you need, because you have to go in being completely transparent and honest about who you are.
Exactly right.
Well, Chris, I appreciate you so much for giving us some tips about mental health. Like I said, I know May is Mental Health Awareness Month, but I do believe, and I'm sure you do too, because you do this by trade, that, you know, we have these issues all year long. They don't wait until May to pop up. They actually come even in June and July, certainly with the summer coming. And I don't want to talk about cuffing season. We'll have that conversation later. But thank you so much. How can people reach out to you if they're interested in maybe some of your online courses or your books or anything like that? How can they reach you?
Yeah, so I have a direct website, chrisamatthews.com. It's the spelling of my name, CHRIS. A Matthews with two T's, MATTHEWS. I'm also on all IG, Instagram, Facebook. Chris A. Matthews is my tag.
Love it. Thank you so much, Chris. I'm going to have to check you out on IG, okay? And no judgment on the pictures when you see me. I might be doing some crazy things, but I ain't crazy, all right? Thank you, Chris. I appreciate your time.
Thank you. It was a pleasure.
The DL Hughley Show.com. Log on today.